You'd have to say
But that's the point,
which
is
bit
to
you're
have
talking
a
about.
comprehensive view.
Yeah, Churchill was never working with the Germans to invade Russia.
No. This is a plan that was drawn up. Do you know about Operation Unthinkable?
Fire away.
Pull it up, Jamie. Operation Unthinkable was at the end of the war. I believe Churchill was concerned about the rise of Russia in the rise of the Soviet Union, and the idea was, and we'll find out what the historical facts are about this. Operation Unthinkable, the name given to two related possible future war plans developed by the British Chiefs of Staff Committee against the Soviet Union during 1945. The plans were never implemented. The creation of the plans was ordered by the British Prime Minister Winston Churchill on May 1945 and developed by the British Armed Forces Joint Planning Staff in May 1945, the end of World War II in Europe. One plan assumed a surprise attack on the Soviet forces stationed in Germany to oppose the will of the United States, the will of the United States and the British Empire upon Russia. Right. The will was qualified as a square deal for Poland, but added that does not necessarily limit the military commitment. The assessment signed by the Chief of Army Staff on 9 June 1945 concluded it would be beyond our power to win a quick but limited success, and we would be committed to a protracted war against heavy odds. The code was,
This is, okay, first of all, I never do Wikipedia.
Okay, we don't have to do Wikipedia.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
This is just what Jamie pulled up.
Okay, but first of all, yes, at the end of the war, a plan requested that wasn't seen through that suggests that after the defeat of Nazism, communism of the Soviet form is also going to be a threat to Europe, was simply an evidence that, I mean, it's obvious.
True.
It's what Churchill had worried about throughout the 40s. He worried about it in Yalta. He worried about it everywhere. I'm sorry, but I have to return to this point that this man manages to do one of the most heroic things in human history in standing alone against evil in its most concentrate form. And he does about as much as any human being can do to save the civilized world. If you just park that and you go on to a plan in 1945 to try to counter Soviet domination of Europe, you see what I'm saying? This is not doing something in the round.
Yeah, it's also, look, I mean, I'm not even like I'm not at all the expert on World War II. And I'm not like going to debate with you about World War II, but I would say that like there's a lot of room for nuance and disagreement with what you just said. You know, in the 20th century, we had 2 world wars. They're the worst thing, objectively speaking, the worst thing that's ever happened in the history of the world. And the Second World War is the biggest bloodbath in human history. And it ended with handing the man who you just mentioned, Joseph Stalin, half of Europe. So listen, if you want to argue, I'm Jewish and of German descent, so like I'm not against the argument that it was the Nazis had to be defeated and that was the most important thing, but there still is just the basic facts that it almost couldn't have gone worse. It was like just a nightmare for civilization. And if people want to look back at that and go, man, was there any other way this could have been handled? Was there any other way? Were there blunders that were made here? Now, personally, what I feel much more comfortable arguing would be that I try to blame everything I can on Woodrow Wilson as much as I can, because also he created the income tax and the Federal Reserve and did so much to damage my country. But I think American entry into World War I was really a disaster. And imposing the Treaty of Versailles on Germany was a disaster. I also think that's kind of fairly mainstream history. Like, that's not a particularly controversial view, that like imposing the Treaty of Versailles on Germany ended up in disaster.
Well, no, except that, as Martin Amis said, the only way to not get to the Treaty of Versailles would be for Germany to win World War I, but yeah.
Yeah, but we're not talking about the Nazis winning the war. Sure. We're talking about, you know, listen, I think that...
But secondly, sorry, I just have to address that fundamental. You say the outcome of World War II and everything that happened in it was the worst thing that's ever happened, and the worst thing imaginable, worst possible outcome.